Hey everybody, thanks for showing up to this episode of the Cadaver Lab. And I'll tell you what, you are going to be happy you did because I have the world famous John Brennan on the show today. How's it going, John?
What's up, man? I don't know about world, but
Don't you dare ever on my own show disagree
yeah,
with me when I
I
say
won't
stuff
question.
like that.
I mean, I've gotten recognized at a bar in Brooklyn, once
Hmm.
in L.A., and once in Pennsylvania and Virginia. There was like
Well,
four times.
do you want
So
to
that's
know?
the U.S. I haven't been to Spain
I'll tell you
yet.
what, the only
So
reason you're not getting recognized there is because you're not going there. And I think that's something you need to take care of.
yeah, I want to go get all those Portuguese fans who are
Yeah.
clamoring for the John Brennan experience.
Yes, sir. Okay. Okay. But here's the thing. If I'm sure everybody that's watching this show right now knows who John is, but we know him from John Brennan, the Bigfeet, also a world famous band with, by the way, as an aside, real quick. Oh, no, no,
Uh,
no. And he worked with The Last Drive-In with Joe Bob Briggs. I actually saw him at the Joe Bob's Jamboree in 2023. But he did before that work for Troma, and right now he is working with Yuki on his podcast called Yuki and John's Patreon Buffet, and we'll get into all of that. But the first thing I want to talk about, 2023 Jamboree. I'm walking through, I'm kind of going in, getting my soda, getting my hot dog from the concession stand, right? I hear a song about a lizard who took a shit that smells like human shit. And I'm not going to lie to
yeah.
you. It was at that moment I'm like, who is this guy? And how this is musical genius. Am I wrong? No, I'm right.
Well, I appreciate that. What a nice thing to say, and I appreciate your kind words. That song was a complete and utter accident. That, no pun intended. I mean, lizard shit is usually an accident. They don't even know they're doing it. They just drop it. Me and the executive producer of The Last Drive-In, Justin Martell, it was one of the first times we were ever shooting it wasn't the marathon, it was maybe like season one, and we
Mhm.
were down in Texas. We left the hotels to go and gallivant for the day to whatever, we were doing work. And we
Right.
came back, just Justin and I, and we walked into the hotel room, and it smelt like somebody had dumped Taco Bell dump, human male, humongous, ungodly. And we were like, what? Nobody's been here. What the hell happened? And it turned out that that room we were going into was where the director was staying, and the Ernie was there in his big cage, and we figured out it was the lizard who took a shit.
Shut up, dude.
And we had no clue that a lizard could smell like that from defecation. So
It's
I
like,
picked up my guitar and I started strumming the lizard took a shit. He filmed it,
oh my
and
God.
there's a little clip online you can find on our social medias and stuff. And then I expanded it with the Bigfeet,
Yeah.
and there's a great live version of it from Jamboree 2021
Yeah.
on The Last Drive-In Soundtrack Volume 2. It just ballooned out. I love that song. That's one of my favorite songs I ever made.
Wait. Volume two? I got this
That's
one. Is this
Volume 1. That's
This is
Volume
volume
1,
one.
and then Volume 2 has The Shining cover
No, there was
parody.
a volume two. I've got this one too.
That's
This is
Fabio
the Fabio
Frizzi
Frizzi.
live
Those
at
are
the
those are
drive-in.
the two. But just so you know, and everyone watching, so this is his handsome face right there, and that's his podcast buddy. Oop, he can't even see it.
Spooky Yuki Nakamura.
There you go. Well, that's cool. No, and on the back it has all the songs are credited to John Brennan and the Big Feet, and so that's cool, man. I got to tell
Yeah,
you,
but there was a volume 2
I
with The
need okay.
Shining. We did a parody. Go look it up. There probably still some out there
Well,
somewhere.
I need to check that out for sure. I didn't
Yeah.
know that. Yeah, that sucks. You know what's funny is the one time I ever sent in a letter, right, to the last drive-in, was season 5, episode 1, which is the Fabio Frizzi thing, and
Yes.
them reading it actually made it to the beginning of the second side. I wrote in the thing because I'd been recently gotten married, and I'm like, okay, well, she doesn't like horror movies, right? And Joe Bob was like, well, you're doomed to be this for the rest of your life. I don't know. So I just thought it was funny that I'm like, holy shit, I made it
That
out to
was your letter?
yeah.
You should get residuals, dude. What's up? You wrote part of the record. I mean, that's crazy.
And no doubt. I heard it just on accident. I was like, what? Anyway, All right, so man, so okay, so tell me like how you got started and made your way through Troma. I know you lived in LA for a while working on different things, and why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so my LA days, it was about 10 years of fun. I didn't really do much. I mean, I did a few things. I made a short movie with Peter Facinelli. You know who that is? He's the if the movie Can't Hardly Wait, he's the
Oh,
boyfriend of Jennifer Love Hewitt, the guy who sort of looks like Tom Cruise back then. He was in a show called Fastlane. He's been in a lot. He's in the Twilight movies.
I know. Okay, I know who he is now. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So that was the big thing that I did out there. I made a short movie with him that I
Hmm.
co-wrote and produced. It's a very experimental movie called Lily. You can find it online somewhere. But I basically just like wrote a lot. I worked a lot at a food delivery company, which was like the prototype for Grubhub called LA Bite.
Oh, cool.
I became a dispatcher there. But while I was doing that, I just wrote like a dozen screenplays. I started learning how to record music and stuff. So it was a good time, but it was a party. I was in my 20s.
Yeah.
I didn't go away when I went to college, so
Uh,
I pretty much let loose when I was in
you're like, this is
LA.
my time.
It was my time. It was a great
Mhm.
time too. It was like I saw the literal death, the final days of the Sunset Strip, where people used to crowd the Sunset Strip and just cruise up and down, up and down, up
Yeah.
and down in the traffic jams and stuff. And that ended while I lived there.
I'm
So
bummer to
it
see
was a
that,
great
but at
time. I
least
used
you
to go to the
saw part of
Rainbow.
it.
Yeah, I felt really good about it, and I used to go to the Rainbow and see all kinds of old rockers and stuff, and it was just an awesome time. I saw so many celebrities, just Weird Al eating a burrito at Paquito Mas by himself, and I was like, I'm not gonna talk to this guy because it's better to just watch Weird Al eat a fucking burrito,
Really?
dude. Anything he says to me, it doesn't matter. I've seen him do it. He's probably writing a burrito song in his head right now. Why
Yeah, you
interrupt
didn't.
him?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Don't stop genius in while it's happening.
Yeah. So then, after my LA days, it was just time. I wanted to be closer to my family. I just felt like maybe there was more opportunities for an independent artist than there were in LA, because LA, it's a lot of PA work and all that sort of stuff, for like the big companies. But I just didn't see an in, and I didn't have a lot of connections. But I had people in New York that I knew, so I came back. I started doing like the Upright Citizens Brigade
Oh,
classes and things like that. And slowly I got in with a bunch of people that I met. And then Troma just came out of nowhere because I joined Twitter. I followed Lloyd Kaufman. I was like, oh my God, he's still making movies. This is amazing.
uh-huh.
And I just tweeted him and I said, how can one get involved with Troma? And he said, contact my assistant, and sent me an email over Twitter, and I did, and the rest is history. I mean, I got
Good.
in there, I sent them a bunch of stuff I was working on, like music videos or whatever, and they were like, you could be an editing volunteer and edit Lloyd's Make Your Own Damn Movie lessons for
Oh
YouTube. And
my
I said,
gosh.
that's fucking awesome. I'm
Out of
in.
anybody on the whole planet, I believe that Lloyd Kaufman is one of the very few that you could ever start like that for.
Yeah. And you know what? I'll tell you even what's weirder. It was serendipity because I went to a fish show. Can I talk about drugs on this show?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So I was at a fish
Kids, if you're
show.
watching, I don't do any drugs.
Okay,
I
good, good.
never have, never will.
These aren't hard drugs. I mean, mushrooms are mind expanding. So I was on mushrooms at a fish show, and in my head, I'm like, okay, this next year, I gotta meet somebody who's famous who could help me in my career. And I was like, that's the thing, that's the thing. And that just was like in the back of my mind when I hit Lloyd Kaufman up, and he turned out to be that guy because he led to the rest of my career, to the Last Drive. Trauma led to Last Drive-In and all that stuff. So
Hmm.
do
Dude,
mushrooms at a fish show, and you might see your future.
that's that is like one of the greatest stories of becoming world famous, like yourself, that I have ever heard in my life. I mean, honestly, because it's like literally like I read Make Your Own Damn Movie, right? And I'll just have, and I'm just like, he just seems like a regular dude, but no, he's a regular dude that makes all these classic movies. And I think I heard you mention one time that you were involved in Shakespeare Shitstorm. Is that correct?
Yeah, I produced that. I was the first producer on board because at the time I was Lloyd's assistant when he first had the kernel of the idea to resurrect that idea, because he wanted to do it in the
Colonel,
90s. The kernel of the idea. He
Colonel of the
pulled it out.
Shitstorm, brother.
That's
Serious?
good. See, if you were in Troma at that time, Lloyd would have used that joke in the movie. He would have been
Okay.
like, "That's a good joke. Put it in." So he like wanted to make it in the '90s and was thinking about doing it with James Gunn after Tromeo and Juliet, but he
Mhm.
wanted to play Prospero, and he felt he was too young yet.
Ah,
So then, when I was working with him, he's like, "I think at the time I'm thinking about doing Shakespeare's." No, it was at the time it was just called Troma's The Tempest. And so we went out, we found a writer, Brandon Bassham, who had written and we distributed a couple of his movies, Feartown, USA, and The Slashing. His Lloyd's wife decided to help produce this one, which was amazing. She, Pat Kaufman, who was the commissioner of film and television in New York City for a while, and now has
that's
returned to that
no
position.
way.
So she was so helpful. It was
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah,
It's like a wealth of information right there for you.
yeah. And then Justin Martell, who had produced Return to Nukem High Volumes 1 and 2, and I co-produced Volume 2 while I was Lloyd's assistant. He came on and got us connected with people in Albania to shoot this big boat sequence where there's whales flying over the boat and shitting
Dude,
all over it and
I
stuff.
watched that
Yeah.
one. I was like, I mean, is it shocking? No, it's Trauma, right? And I mean, guys my age, we've been watching Trauma since we were like 11, 10 years old. So it's like, so no, it's not shocking, but I'm just like, I don't know. Maybe they're gonna chill. Nope. Fuck
Nope.
no, you're not chilling out. No
No
way. And
way.
it cracked me
Lloyd,
up.
yeah, I my first Troma movie I watched probably when I was 9, 10, or 11, and that I don't remember exactly, but it
Mhm.
was Class of Nukem High Part 2. And as a kid, that movie blew my mind because it was a cartoon, it was gory, it was weird, it was funny. It had a fucking mutant squirrel kaiju at the
Yes,
end,
yes,
and it also had tits and stuff. And so I
yes.
was like, "What is this? What is
Dude,
this movie?"
dude, it's crazy how, I mean, especially at that age, how all you had to do was show me a set of boobs, and I'm like, this is my favorite movie. You know, it's funny how that never changes. So that's still good with me. But
Yeah. So yeah, man, the Shakespeare Shitstorm. That was incredible experience. We
yeah.
brought Troma back to shooting in New York City proper. We shot in Brooklyn, New York City, Queens, because Troma hadn't shot a movie there in 25 years. Did a lot of their stuff in Buffalo.
Mhm.
So
That's
we did a
awesome, man.
proper New York City on the streets and Albania. 10% was in Albania.
So I'm not going to make a connection in your career that not only do you have a song about shit, you've made a movie about shit. I'm not seeing a connection, but I mean, I'm still the kind of guy that laughs his ass off at farts, so I'm good with it. Let's just put
Dude,
it that
guess
way.
what? I have more than one song about shit.
Oh, oh my bad. I ain't seen nothing yet, apparently. So
No, no, no. Well, actually, here's if okay for anybody that is into this, I'm not necessarily into it, but I think it's just part of life. So sometimes, I mean, I've written songs about cheeseburgers too. So
yeah, right.
don't get me wrong, I write about a lot of stuff, but excrement is there. It's part of our lives. I One time I was a janitor and there was the biggest dump I've ever seen in my
Oh my
life
gosh.
that I had to clean. And this was before cell phones and stuff.
Right.
So I called up my brother and I'm like, you have to come down here and bring my camera and film this because no one will ever believe me. He did a solid for his brother and I filmed it.
That is
Dude,
amazing.
I showed it to Yuki and he was just like, I can't believe it. Like he could not believe his eyes. It's like if you see it, you will not believe it. You will think it's fake, but it's totally real.
That's insane, dude.
Yeah, it's out there. I put it on the Patreon, but I also put it on a episode of Yuki Reacts where we filmed him reacting to it. So
Dude, let's talk about Yuki for a minute. That dude
yeah,
is hilarious. Like, so I'm listening to your podcast about breakfast, and
I know where you're going.
no, I mean, no, I'm not. It's just what he thinks is normal is so bizarre to me. First of all, he doesn't like potatoes, so that weirds me out a little bit. Second of all, the
Yeah.
only difference between breakfast steak and dinner steak is the size. I don't know. Where'd you think I was going?
Well, the snack. I mean, he's like pancake. That's not a
Yes.
meal. That's a snack.
It's like, what?
Pancakes are a fucking snack. What universe does Yuki come from
I
where a
wonder.
pancake stack of pancakes is a snack?
I thought to myself, I'm like, so does snack? Maybe there's a language thing. Maybe snacks are some. I'm like, because pancakes are not snacks, and of course I'm listening
No.
to a podcast, so I can't like I can't like get on his case
Talk
about
back
it.
or
Yeah, so it's
well, we did finally get sort of to the bottom of it. We
uh
did a whole episode on snacks versus meals,
oh.
and Yuki expanded some of his thoughts on it, but I'm still perplexed. It's like quantum physics. You might not never get to the bottom of it with
He's
his
a
snack.
mystery. With
He's a
what I've
mystery.
seen, he's just like a mystery, and it's like, but it's funny as hell. So it's like,
Yeah. Oh, Yuki is the funniest, one of the funniest
yeah.
people I've ever met, but he honestly actively does not think he's funny. He tells me, he's like, I'm not funny. I'm like,
He's like, what?
Yuki, you are one of the funniest motherfuckers I ever met. Like, your mind just doesn't work like other people's, and it's brilliant. It's
Well,
amazing.
and the thing is so in the old days on the last drive-in, you guys would do your songs, and and he would come up and do something just from out of nowhere, and I would be like, what? This guy, does he know what he's doing? Because that is hilarious. Like, who comes
He
up with
does
this
and he
shit?
doesn't. Sometimes sometimes he acts and he acts very well.
Uh-huh.
But that comes, he said, from being on set for so many years and watching so many actors do it, that
Yeah.
he has a sense of it now. But sometimes he'll just mistakenly do it, and people are laughing. He's like, "What's funny?" You, Yuki, you're funny.
So what your guys is because it seems like you guys talk about everything on that show. I mean, like, I'm a horror guy, you know that. I wanted you on because you have a lot of horror stuff. Like I said, world
Mhm.
famous horror guy. So when you guys got together, what were you just like? What were you just like? We should just talk about, breakfast and snacks and stuff.
Well, our conversations since the beginning of meeting him, which was because of Shakespeare Shitstorm,
Oh, no
he was the
kidding.
production designer. Yeah, he came in and we hired him, and he spent the summer with us. But after that, it was like off to the races, and then we right simultaneously we got him. I got him to be on the last drive-in, so it was like, because we did the original marathon right around the same time.
Uh-huh.
And just speaking to him, it was like all wildly careening all over every single kind of subject. He could
Yeah.
talk about anything. And I love talking about everything too. 'Cause
Yeah.
sometimes regular stuff gets boring. Yeah, let's talk about the agricultural revolution. Let's try. I know one fact about it. Let's see what you know. So that was sort of the idea when I approached him to say, Yuki, let's just do a podcast, talk to each other. We could fill an hour or a half
Oh,
hour,
yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
And the idea was the buffet topic. So because it would get old for me and Yuki if it was just about horror, because Yuki does not necessarily like horror. I mean, he likes certain horror, but he wouldn't just like watch The Mutilator and be like, "Oh, I see the value in that." He'd be like, "It's
Right.
horrible," So
Yeah.
that would get old quick.
Yeah.
But I love that kind of stuff.
Yeah, same.
So, and we do every once in a while talk about that topic. But it was like, yeah, let's just talk about laundry. Let's talk about driving. Let's talk about Star Trek. Let's talk about.
And I look at, I'm scrolling, and I'm just like, this stuff, just like, and then I started listening, and I've listened before. I mean, it's not like I just barely started, but I'm just like, how are they making this subject fun to listen to? Because if I were to sit here and talk about this, it'd be dumb as hell.
It's you know what it is. It's part. I love learning about stuff just because, like, I just it's fascinating to know about the world. It just like I said, the agricultural revolution, or the myth of Sisyphus, or all these things are out there. And right now, you could get half of it. I wouldn't say all of it's actually good, but you can get a lot of it on the internet. Some of it's bad information,
Right.
but some that also is funny sometimes
Yeah.
when we know the real information. So it's just a ball to talk to Yuki like twice a month. We record 3 or 4 episodes at a time,
Oh, yeah.
and we just keep rolling. And yeah, man,
It just seems
it's
like you
just
guys are
fun.
having a fun time too. So it's like, that's
We'd be
awesome.
talking like that anyway. Maybe not that to that extent.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a pleasure to learn about some of his theories on life. And then we also have our fans to thank, because they started throwing us topic suggestions. So it was like, oh, yeah, let's do graveyards. Let's do wiping. Let's do, depression. Let's do phobias, that we wouldn't necessarily think of offhand.
Okay. All right. So
Okay.
cool. So you have, with this podcast, you have a big one coming up, a big episode coming up, that you're reaching out to your fans across the world and asking for videos, emails, stuff like that. And what's that all about?
So it's actually, on the Patreon buffet, we do about a dozen shows, Yuki celebrity stories, all kinds of stuff, the universe and human stupidity. But we have a new show coming out that we're teaming with the Kings of Horror
Right.
on. And they are a YouTube channel that has 1.57 million subscribers. So we're about to up our viewership a little bit, hopefully. And we decided to do this thing called Yuki and John's Interview Buffet.
Oh, okay.
Where I'll talk to some guests, the steamed horror guests and stuff like that. And wait a second. Oh, my God. Do you hear that?
No.
Iron Maiden just started playing on my... Anyway, so... with the Spooky Yuki scary questionnaire is what we're going to be asking our guests. And it's 6 questions asked by Yuki Nakamura himself that are horror-centric that anyone can answer, in fact. If anybody out there in Buffet Land or out there in Cadaver Land, all over the place, can answer these 6 questions, and you can submit your answers either written, short, hopefully, if you're writing, or video to yukiandjohn@gmail.com. And you can find all that stuff on my social medias and stuff like that at Bad Techno. So, I mean, we're going to launch this thing probably November, December with the first few guests.
So you got, I don't know why I'm going to put it out there, but I'll tell you what, you put that out on the Kings of Horror, which had with my humble beginnings of this YouTube channel. Okay. They're probably going to just hear more about it from them anyway, but I'll do my best to get people to. Yeah,
man. Look, hey, if people, even if 2 people, you already submitted your questionnaire, and I'm excited to see what your answers were because it's almost like the James Lipton, when he used to ask all the questions of people at the end of the actor studio, and it's like, what's your favorite curse word? And James would be like,
I feel like mine was a little too long, but I don't know. Because I could get into a ghost. Okay,
I'll edit it down. Come on.
Okay. So
I know how to get rid of the fat. Not really. I'm still fat, but in the editing.
Both, brother. But here's the questions they're asking: what movie scared you as a child? What movie scared you as an adult? What's the scariest book you've read? What works of horror do you think are underrated? What's your greatest fear? And do you believe in ghosts? And I'll tell you what, Yuki reading those on those videos you put out is way better than anything I could ever do. Right here and right now. So
yeah, there's a video of Yuki shot. We shot him like
creepy,
the harsh lighting, and it's very creepy. And he's like, "What?" And he's just yelling the questions.
You believe in ghosts? It's like, oh my gosh, that cracked me up.
It's very special. So it's gonna be a lot of fun, and hey, we're gonna try and get as many people on as we can. So if you want to be a part of it, we're welcoming all people.
I'm already a part of it, brother. So there you go.
Great.
All right, so I want to ask you one thing, and you can go as detailed as you want or as not. Okay, so sure. I was thinking, so with the last drive-in, I've never, I write software for a living, so I have no idea how any of that stuff works, right? So you, I'm sure that there's a whole process that you have to go through for your, for the pre-production and all this stuff, the writing, all this
yes.
stuff. What did you do? What was it like for you to do? Just say for each and every, for like a typical episode of The Last Drive-In?
Well, it always depended on not only the era of The Last Drive-In, but then the piece itself. So in the early days, when we just did the marathon, I wasn't supposed to be actually like an on-air or a performer or anything like that. I was just a production coordinator.
Okay.
But then the guys who started The Last Drive-In, which was Matt Mangiarides, Justin Martell, they're Troma guys, so I had met them at Troma. And then Austin Jennings, who they met through Teen Mom of all places, MTV Teen Mom. They all worked there.
I wish I could say I didn't know what that was, but unfortunately.
I know. So you have Troma and Teen Mom to thank for The Last Drive-In. I mean, Jesus. So they, Matt Mangiarides, I did a song for a Troma movie, and he knew that I did music, so he's like, hey, we're looking for theme songs, so can you submit a demo? And I was like, absolutely. I remember Monster Vision. They had a great theme song.
Oh, hell yeah.
But they couldn't use that song for some reason. So I did it, and I submitted it. It got approved, and it was like 24 hours later. Never in my life has anything been so blessed to happen so fast and so beautifully. So then they had a guest on for the first marathon named Lyle Blackburn, and I actually thanked him for this. Okay. He was supposed to perform. He's a cryptozoologist, and he's like big into Bigfoot and swamp apes and all that sort of stuff. And he was a guest on Legend of Boggy Creek, and there's a lot of great songs in the Legend of Boggy Creek. Okay. And Lyle Blackwell being also a musician. He was supposed to perform one of the songs from Boggy Creek, but he couldn't bring a guitar and he didn't feel like butchering the song. So I brought my guitar at the request of the director, and we went in with Joe Bob. I learned the song and I played it for him, and he's like, "Oh yeah, let's do it." And it just was luck like that. So we did that song, and then when we got approved for the first season, Joe Bob just started writing musical bits, and then I started pitching musical bits, and it just grew from there.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I think
then
that was in 2008. The first. Are you talking about that first? Was that because
the very first Last Drive-In was 2018? Yeah,
that's what I meant, 2018. So, but it was dusk till dawn, till dusk till dawn, or something like that, right? And that was when the internet took a dump, and your guys' servers took a dump, and whatever. But it finally came back, and I don't think I made it to. I don't think I made it to the Legend of Boggy Creek. So I was in the middle of the night, so it's like,
yeah, it was probably in the middle of the night.
So I vaguely remember something like that, but man, but it was so I mean, so before the season, did you like go and say, "Oh, we're gonna do spooky, so I'm gonna make this kick-ass rap"?
That was later. That was like season 3. So by
Okay.
that time, I had been collaborating. But in the first season, things just started being offered to me, like, "Oh, we're gonna do a prom episode. Can you write a song that has like a doo-wop infused song that has to do with this and that?" And I was like, "Yeah, absolutely." So I did that. Then on the fly, we weren't sure whether or not we were going to get the rights to The Hills Have Eyes for the Thanksgiving episode. So they moved up the Madman episode, and they were going to do that in case they couldn't get the rights. And they were like, "Oh, we want to do the Madman theme song with Joe Bob." And I learned that. So things like that just, and then we did a Christmas bit with Phantasm. So those sort of things were organic. But then once we were, sort of a big hit and things were progressing, I started pitching ideas. I started being given ideas by other people. Like the definite ones that I pitched were the Clint Howard "Thank You" song, which I guess he didn't like too much, but I wasn't making fun of him, and nobody was. We were honoring the man. And then the Spookies one, Austin Jennings was like, "Do you think like we could do like an end credit rap song for Spookies?" I was like, "I'm fucking so on it. Like this is the thing I was born to do." Because I made rap music with my brother for years, just joking around, and finally I got to make a real rap song. So things like that, sometimes organically, sometimes like Walpurgis Not. Joe Bob sent me some lyrics that were based in like 16th century poetry. So I made a song out of that. And just there was a lot of different ways it happened. And some of them happened really fast. Some of them I wrote in an hour. Yeah. And then they were pretty much approved. And some of them I wrote on set. The Fart song that we did on Halloween when I was Fart the Clown. Yeah. That song wasn't necessarily going to make it in for some reason. But I was like, whatever, I'm going to finish this so that they can't say no. And then once they heard the farts with London Bridge, they couldn't say no.
So that sounds like, I mean, obviously it evolved over the thing, but the thing is, it seems like you got a little bit more control, not control, but just more, I guess, rope, stuff like that.
Sometimes freedom, sometimes assignments. It was all over the place. And a lot of times it was a feeling. So, for instance, Austin had an idea. "Oh, I want to do a Talking Heads parody for Head of the Family." Okay. Or no, actually, I think that might have been Mangiarides. I don't know, but people would just throw ideas. I'd be like, "I could do that. Come on, let's do it." Yeah. And so I would try to do as much like sound-alikes as I could.
Do you guys ever play shows? You and the Bigfeet ever play shows like just around your town? Or I mean, I don't know if you've ever gone on a tour or anything like that.
Not a tour, because like, Bigfeet, we did all the jamborees, we did shows in Brooklyn and stuff, so shows in Jersey, but it's like hard for us because I work full time. The other guys all have full time jobs, so it's not necessarily like we need to go and tour. We have lives, but when we do it, it's magical because we want to do it. You know what I mean? Yes. And it's just like it would be really hard for all of us to drop stuff. Jimmy has kids. Levi White, the guitar player, is doing stand up comedy, and he's getting really good and growing his audience. So Joe is really great at his job. He's doing watches now, and he was working at a record company. So everybody has their thing. When we get together, it's just fun. So it's not like we need to go to Milwaukee to play a dive bar. Because it's like we'd hate each other if we did that.
Going across. Well, the thing is I mean. Oh, I get having kids, having to do all that stuff, and it's just like needing that like. I mean, I guess that's why I do this a little bit, just getting that catharsis and stuff like that. But it's like I feel like you need this, especially. I mean, you're probably a young man, but being an old man like myself, it's just like, oh my gosh, every once in a while, I'll just do that. But anyway, long story short, that's cool. So I mean,
The
without
last thing you can call me is a young man. Huh?
listen, I have no idea how old you are. I'm not going to assume. Okay, I'm not going to assume anything.
It
But
ain't. It ain't. I ain't a spring chicken. Let's just put it that way.
me neither, brother.
Yeah.
But so do you guys like do I mean outside of the do you guys have like records, anything like that outside of the things that have come out with Joe Bob?
Well, no. All the stuff that we did with the Bigfeet were through the last drive-in.
Oh, okay.
But we do have an idea for one final record, which we may do sooner than later, which is called The Last Drive Through. And it
Okay.
would be songs about food. The lizard took a shit would be on there, that kind of stuff. A couple of metal songs.
Mhm.
We wrote a song called what the hell was it called? I forgot the name of it right now because I haven't thought about it for a minute. But actually, you know what? You're sparking my interest. I would like to get a studio record, go into the studio with the Big Feet for a half a Sunday, and
Yeah.
just cut all the songs live,
Yeah,
just
dude.
like, and then put that out. You know what? We're gonna make that happen. The
Do it,
last
man.
drive through. Yeah,
That'd be awesome.
we gotta.
So, what as far as the last drive-in is concerned, what are some things that you can talk about that you think that people like me who've only seen it and not, and have no idea how that kind of works would be shocked to know about?
Oh
Like part of the
Lord.
production, anything specific to
Dear
that?
Lord,
What?
Lord, you know what? No, one of the things was, I don't know if everybody knows this. The many places that we've actually shot, each one was very different, and each one had sort of a history. Like the first place that we shot in was New Jersey, in like a shoebox studio that was for some tattoo reality show. I forgot the name of the show.
Huh.
It was like some reality show about tattoo artists, but we got that shoebox for the weekend, and that's where we shot the marathon. Then after that, we shot in Texas at a soundstage where RoboCop was shot.
Shut up.
And the guy who owned it at that time, I don't know if he still owns it, was Glenn Beck. You know who Glenn Beck is?
Wait, the
He's like a
conservative
right
pundit?
wing.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like a conservative. He owned that place and he did his stuff out of there. But there was a big unused soundstage that we rented from the people who owned that soundstage. So, but Glenn Beck is like a big movie nerd and whatever.
Is he?
He had the fucking ruby slippers. He had the original
No
R2D2.
way.
He had the original script for Orson Welles' War of the Worlds. He had all this memorabilia just in the hallways and stuff under glass. So it was like a museum.
No way. But
Yeah,
but you're
man.
also saying that RoboCop was shot this right this place,
Also,
right?
RoboCop. Also, I think there was another thing. I for some
Well,
reason,
it's funny
Star
because I was
Trek
going
is
to
coming
ask
to my
you,
head.
did
Yeah.
the owner was he around to see RoboCop shoot that guy in the dick? But I'm going to go ahead and assume since it's Glenn Beck that
I don't think he saw this
yeah.
dick, but he probably saw RoboCop, and he owns a piece of RoboCop history. I mean, the dude had
That's
he had
crazy.
the Last Crusade chalice,
No,
the Holy
like
Grail, dude.
the wood one. No
Yeah,
way, bro.
he had all that shit on display in his
That's
office, and it
crazy.
was like wide open so you could see it. It was bizarre.
I
So, and
never
then
would have
after
guessed
that, we
that.
went to Jersey, and there was all kinds of stuff there that was shot, like all kinds of Adult Swim things.
Hmm.
And then the final place that we ended up was in Atlanta.
Uh-huh.
We were in the complex where The Walking Dead was shot on 120 acres of woods.
Oh, no
The
kidding.
sets were still standing, like the towns and the this and the that. I went walking through the woods one day because I had nothing to do for 5 hours. I found 4 different sets that were
No
still standing
way.
inside the woods. Yeah, it was crazy.
That's
It was
awesome.
crazy. Yeah.
That,
So that's one thing I don't think people would know, where that while we were shooting the show, all these crazy soundstage experiences we were having.
no, that is cool. And I'll tell you what, I did know. The only one I knew about was Georgia because you put it you guys put it at the end of the show. But it's like, yeah. Also, I didn't
Right.
know Glenn Beck was such a movie person. So
Crazy,
never
crazy
would have
movie
guessed that.
fan.
But
And you used to see, I used to see him peeking out, walking in the hallways when Darcy was crossing across in her cosplay. I
he's
saw
like,
him sneaking a peek. That fuck.
you're like, bro, we see you.
He was
We're
magically
making a
there.
mental note right now of what you're doing. We're going to use it against you. Okay.
He was magically in the hallway anytime she walked into the studio in a new cosplay. Other than that,
love
I never saw
so
the guy.
much, dude. Oh, that cracks me up. Oh
Yeah.
man. Oof. All right, cool. Anything else, or else let's talk about your big
Oh,
reveal.
I do have an exclusive for you. I just found this out last night, and I haven't announced it yet because I was waiting for a few things. Um, I started a company called Goblin in Law. Goblin in Law. Even I can't say it. Maybe I should change the name. But if you thought that your mother-in-law was evil, wait till you meet the Goblin in Law. And one of the things I was doing last year, I did a short with a few people that was like a test shoot for VHS cameras because I wanted to. I'm a huge fan of shot-on video horror from the 80s and
Same.
90s, like Splatter Farm, video violence, all that stuff.
Yes,
I love that stuff.
I love it too.
And
Yeah.
good. Well, everybody should because there's
Well,
so many
it's like
gems.
it's like that's how we grew up, brother. It's like we are the men we are today because of that stuff. So
Totally. And I wanted to get back because when I was in high school, I used to shoot on a high 8 camera with my friends just for fun. And so I tested a VHS shoot for a short called Never Finger Bang a Wendigo. And not only is it good advice, it's a good title. And it makes for a good story. So we shot this thing with my cousins and my beloved and producer Liz Shack, and she also actually co-wrote this with me. So there is a feminist angle to it. But we finished it. I mean, it's a 10-minute piece, and now twofold. We finished the thing, but I also don't think I'm going to shoot a feature on VHS. It's just too hard. Maybe
how
like
do
a
you even edit
DVD or
that
something.
anymore?
Well,
Is that what you're?
I got like a thing that I was able to digitize all the footage
Okay.
and put it into like Premiere Pro and stuff.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, because you could. Okay, I was just like,
Yeah.
how did they do that in the old? Like, that's one thing that I've always wondered. And then I heard that they had like this big super magical VHS player. Or
Oh,
VCR.
back in the day, they had to do it like tape to tape. They would have
Shut
like one
up.
VCR to the then they would like stop and pause and stop and
Oh
pause.
my
and
gosh, that is insane.
even
That's
imagine.
insanity.
Can't
That
even
seems
imagine.
harder than doing it on film.
Yes, it does. So the big announcement here is that this experiment that I thought was just going to be like dead or whatever, I submitted to a bunch of film festivals, and it was officially selected at the Nightmares Film Festival, which takes place in Ohio, and it's actually a really great, reputable film festival that's called the Can of Horror by Movie Maker Magazine, or it's in the top 40 genre fest from Dread Central, and
Oh, nice.
it's a big deal. I mean, I didn't think it was going to get anywhere because it's really lo-fi, and the title isn't for everybody. That's for sure.
That could be the potential. The I don't know if I want to say the most offensive, but the most unique title I've ever heard of a movie in my life. So it's like,
Well, there's a reason for it, and we made sure that it wasn't like filthy. I mean, there is one or two filthy things in there that's necessary to the story,
as long
but
as
the
it's
rest of it
necessary
is
to the
there's a
story.
moral. There's a moral
Okay.
and a theme.
By the way, I don't like that you inferred that movies, in order to have something disrespect or something disreputable, it needs to be part of the story, brother. I just allow it all to happen. Okay, I can see that in your movie, it's fine. It has to do with the plot, but don't get down on me because I don't necessarily think that's.
Oh no,
always
no, not
necessary.
you. I'm just saying in general, like when I'm watching something and it's nothing but gore and there's nothing to latch on to, whether it doesn't have to be immoral, but
Well,
something.
But I think that's
I get
typically just
bored.
boring. Yeah, I don't,
Yeah,
but-
yeah.
So okay,
So-
I get what you're saying. I
I
was
didn't want people thinking it was all finger banging all day.
By the way, that is a clip. That is a soundbite right there. If I ever heard one in my life.
That's going to be my director's statement for all the rest of the convention, the rest of the festivals.
Anyway, okay, cool, man.
Yeah.
So okay, so where are we
That's the
looking
big
out for?
announcement, dude.
That's
Thank you for
awesome.
letting me get the exclusive out there. The
Well, of
Nightmares
course.
Film Festival that takes place in October, I think the weekend of the 17th.
Okay,
So,
So
if you're in
dude,
Ohio,
make it out there. I don't know where it is, and I'm not going to make it out to Ohio. I wish I could, but
I'll send you a link. You could watch it. I'll give you a private
hell
link.
yeah,
you
do
might
that.
you might enjoy it.
oh, I'm sure as long as it's not all finger banging all the time. Okay, so
Only half.
I feel like it better be a little, at least a little bit. But
Oh,
anyway.
there's definitely finger banging. I mean, you can't give a title like "Never Finger Bang a Wendigo" and then "Never Finger Bang the Wendigo." I mean, that's
I
like,
feel like that would be kind of disingenuous to your
yeah,
audience.
yeah,
So yeah,
false advertising.
cool, man. So is there anything else you want to talk about? I appreciate you coming on. I really do. It's like I said, ever since the last drive-in and then going to see you, and it's stupid because I always feel dumb like going to meet like people at places like this. In fact, like Charles Band is like one of my favorite dudes of all time, right? Like his full moon features and all that stuff. I'm over
Yeah.
there taking a piss over at the West Wind Drive-In, right? I turn around and he looks up at his phone. We make eye contact, and I'm like, whoa.
What?
Oh, okay. I'm just I'm not going to say anything because I feel like that's stupid and he doesn't want to deal with me. Plus my I mean I have to wash my hands and all that stuff. So it's like, but no, the only thing that came out of that, I just didn't realize he was that short. But other than that, I didn't talk. I didn't talk to anybody. We didn't, whatever. But no, I just know that we had like, you were one of the biggest reasons we had such a great time in 2023.
Oh,
No, I'm not kissing your ass. I'm not blowing whatever. But to be honest with you, my wife was not. I mean, she was okay, but she was okay to go to Vegas, but she wasn't pumped that I'm dragging her to this thing. And then, but man, she loved the Bigfeet, you and the Bigfeet, and all those.
oh.
So it's like I did. So I just have a very appreciative part in my heart for you.
Thank you, man. That was a great weekend. One of my favorite highlights was that I got to perform with the Big Feet Peace Sells, but Who's Buying, the Megadeth song.
Yep. Uh-huh.
I love that song since I'm a kid, and the fact that we got to do that when the sun was setting
Yeah.
and people were fucking into it, and yeah, man, that was one of the highlights.
I don't really outside of the fact that you said peace sells, but who's buying? And then you had to oh, it's the Megadeth song. As if I don't fucking know what peace
Well,
sells.
not
And
you,
who's
maybe
buying.
your audience. I mean, some people don't know who Megadeth is.
No, I take that very personally. Just joking. All right, man. Thanks again for coming on. So check out. So where do they go? I mean, what's the? I mean, I just get it on the Spotify where I listen to your
Yeah,
podcast
you
stuff like
can
that.
just Google or search Yuki and John's podcast buffet and or Yuki and John's Patreon buffet, or you could check out my social media. Basically on all platforms, I'm at Bad Techno, or badtechno.com has the portals, and then inside of badtechno.com there's a link tree with all the portals of the other stuff. So I'm easily findable.
You're easily found. I just wanted to make sure that if you had some special link or whatever, that
It's yeah, just at Bad Techno on any social media, and you'll find. Actually, the other day, some guy on Instagram was like, "Hey, brother, can I buy your social media handle from you?" I was like, "What? It's that it's that good? It is a pretty good social media
Well,
handle,
what
but
was
I've
he?
had
What
it
was
since
he
I'm in
offering?
high school. I went to, actually I thought about it, and I went to Instagram's terms of service, and
Yeah.
it turns out you're not allowed to sell.
Well,
So I told him,
I'm
I'm
glad
like,
you
I'm
did
so
that.
sorry. Yeah,
I would hate.
I
I'd
would have
hate to
done
be,
it if he was all. I would have been like $100,000.
dude. I'm just saying, right with this goblin-in-law starting up, you don't need any kind of controversy plaguing it all like that. So,
No, I didn't want to, because then they kick off all of your accounts, and I just was like, you know what? It's not worth it. But it's
yeah,
good to know that people want the name. So
that's good. That's good.
Bad techno.
All right, man. Well, thanks again for coming on, and I look forward to everything you got coming.
I appreciate you, and I appreciate your time, and thank you so much, man.